Hey guys, so I just wanted to come on here today and talk a little bit about decision making. This one has been really on my heart because decision making has always been challenging for me. I have always approached the decisions that I make based off of other people. So maybe I was thinking about what would be best for that other person if it was a decision that had something to do with someone else, or how would my family or friends or, peers feel about this decision, or how will they look at me if I were to make this type of decision. So it was kind of always about other people. And it wasn't until recently that I found, so I've been the type of person that no, the word no was never in my vocabulary growing up. I didn't become acquainted with the word until about 5 years ago. I know that sounds strange, but it's true. I didn't know that people were allowed to say no. And so ever since I found that out, it's been challenging for me because it's still super hard to be able to say no when you've never been the type of person to say no. So it's like it became one of those things where my initial response to either requests or invites or favors would always be, yes. And then when I started to understand that you could say no, then that put me in a little bit of a pickle because I don't like confrontation. So then that put me in a bit of a pickle of saying yes initially and then coming back and offering an apology on why that doesn't work for me. So that didn't always feel good. So just this week, I came across another option, another decision making option, which I love. And it is, I'm going to title it Not Quite No. And I just kind of came up with that title because Not Quite No sounds a lot better to someone who's never been used to saying no. If you go from always being a people pleaser to just saying no, it's not going to feel comfortable. It's not going to feel appropriate and might not just feel right with your body. So I was like, well, what else can I do? So I came up with Not Quite No. And I didn't know exactly how I was going to integrate Not Quite No into my daily life until last night. I was watching a video about something about being a manifesting generator in terms of human design. And it said my authority was emotional. So it said you can make emotional, like life-changing decisions, and it come from a place of emotion, right? So if you respond to that immediately, you might not be making the best decision for you. So for example, last August, someone messaged me about the current role that I was doing and said, hey, we have a job opening for your current role in Hawaii. The night before that, I was telling my family, oh wow, I think it'd be really cool to live in Hawaii. So at that point, my emotions were sky high. I'm like, oh wow, I was just talking to my family last night about that. This is a sign, this is da 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 da, and everything, right? So my immediate response, without asking any further questions, was yes. All caps, yes, exclamation point, sign me up. When can I go? When can I book the flight? I'm ready. Well, hold up, because before that, I had only ever visited Hawaii one time in my life, and that was only for a few days, and that was on a resort, right? I knew nothing about residential life over there. I knew nothing about nothing. It just said yes, right? So it reminded me of that moment on how I just said yes. My emotions are sky high. I'm ready to go, right? So as a result of that, I made a decision to pack up all my belongings, and 3 weeks after that, I was in Hawaii. Couldn't have been a dumber decision on my part. Life experience though. But that brings me back to what I found last night, which was when you are presented with these opportunities or moments in your life where you have to make a decision, no matter what it's for, whether that's for getting a new job, whether that's for responding to a request or a favor from a friend or family member, or, moving across the country. The best thing for me to do is to say, you know what? That sounds great. Or, you know what? I'm glad you thought of me, blah, 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 blah. But let me get back to you on that. When I heard that last night, it clicked. Like, that's the not quite no that I came up with about a week or two ago. And so the two of them, when I heard that from the video, and when I remembered that I said not quite no, then it all started to make sense. I don't have to be a person that always says yes. I don't have to be a person that is taken out of my comfort zone and say no. What I can do is say, let me get back to you on that. Or, I'm not really in the best headspace right now to make this decision, or whatever the case might be. When is the latest you need to know by? Or, I'm not really available for that right now. That one was from, I think Mina Irfan has said that one. But point is, I wanted to share this with you guys because if you are a recovering, as they call it, in the self-development world, a recovering people pleaser, or the type of person who has not been used to saying no, you can start with what I call not quite no. You can come up with phrases that you can say, whether that be, let me get back to you on that, or when is the latest you need to know by, or I'm not available right now, but maybe later, or let me sleep on that. You can come up with your own phrase that sounds comfortable for you. So that way it prevents you from making that emotional decision on the spot to where you might have to come back later and, regret to inform that person that what you originally agreed to now is not going to work. So I just thought I'd get on here and share that with you guys because to me, I think that's going to be life-changing, and I can't wait to see it unfold in my life. I've already used it. In fact, I used it last night when a friend invited me to do something for this upcoming weekend. I said, you know what? I like the sound of that. I don't know for sure if I'm going to be available for that, but let's stay in touch throughout the course of the week and communicate over it, or whatever the case might be. So that immediately took out the confusion of me having to make that decision on the spot, which may have led to a decision that I ended up I can't say that word, I guess. Regretting. So yeah, I really encourage you guys to come up with your own phrases if you are, like I said, a recovering people pleaser, or a type of person that's just uncomfortable saying no, or that in the past and present probably you say yes too soon and you end up, not gonna say it, but that wording it. Okay? Or if you guys are the type of person that needs to write it down, you can write down different phrases that you can then resort back to. I've done it actually here in my notebook. Let's see. I've done it. Probably can't see it, that is okay, but I wrote up here at the top, I wrote, I don't have to respond immediately, and it's even best that I don't. But I can say things like, oh, that sounds fun. I'd love to go if I can. When do you want to know by? Like I went over with you guys. I will let you know if that's something that works for me. That's not really a good time of the month for me, but if I'm feeling up for it, I would love to. So that one is actually a huge one for me Because for me, when I'm PMSing and like doing all these different things, you guys know as a woman, if you're a woman, if you're not, hey, you might still know, I don't know. But that's a big one for me that I'm really going to implement, because I know that if I say yes to something when I am in my, you know, good headspace time of the month, like after my period and everything, but I end up agreeing for something that is going to take place during the time of the month where I'm either PMSing or on my cycle, that has been a big one where I've had to, you know, go back on some of the things that I've said or agreed to. So from now on, if I can think of it, if someone asks me to do something, I'm going to do a quick little mental check, like, is that time of the month or whatever? And if so, I can always say, you know, that's not the best time of the month for me, but if I'm feeling up for it, awesome. Yes, whatever the case might be. So that's a good one for if you are the type of person where PMSing gets the best of you, and that's just a time of the month where you like to rest or you like to make decisions when that time of the month is already there. You don't really want to make a decision at a different time of the month when you're in a better headspace or whatever, right? So I'm glad I looked at this list again, because that's a good one too. So if you're the type of person who's like me, you like to write down phrases that you can look back on when you need to pull from them, kind of like a cheat sheet or, you know, a toolbox or whatever. Write it down. Anyway, thanks guys for listening. I hope you guys can share with me some of the things that, you know, if you're a recovering people pleaser, some of the things that you have done that have worked for you, or some of the things that you're now willing to try after seeing this video. Let me know.